Soup.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup. I am Beau Oliver, joined here today with Aaron, the Nerd Soup Monkey, and we are back to talk about The Last of Us Episode 3. Excited to have you back, Aaron, even though you did assault me and Teddy on the last video you were on, but it looks like you got hit with a little bit of karma because you came down with the flu. Luckily, we're taking the necessary precautions because I am a hypochondriac. But Aaron, how you doing? Excited for today's episode?
Yeah, good to be back. Excited to talk about the episode, and I guess sorry about your faces. That was a little bit wild of me. My bad.
Oh, please understand.
Save her, you can save her.
Alright, so episode 3, Long Time, written by Craig Mazin, directed by Peter Hoare, and I think on both fronts they did a really good job, especially the writing in this episode. It's the biggest departure from the games. Coming into the episode, hearing critics' reactions saying that most of it didn't appear in the games, and they were right. So we get this insight into Bill and Frank, two characters that are, one is in the game and both are mentioned. And I think Nick Offerman and Murray Bartlett, not only did they steal the episode with their love story, chronicled over the span of 17 years, but they were perfect casting. I think Offerman, watching him set up his preparations for the apocalypse was like watching Ron Swanson, so that was great. And Murray Bartlett was just super charismatic. I know he's been in shows like White Lotus, and he won an Emmy for his role in that, but super charismatic, very tender, very sweet, and it was just a very moving story that I didn't know I needed until I saw it. So I did really enjoy the departure from the games because this is what you could do with an adaptation. You see the groundwork, the blueprints, and you figure out ways to make it better. You're rebuilding this story. So maybe you add an extra room or an extra window, like the way I tied that in to the last shot. But I thought it was really good. Aaron, what did you think about this episode? I had to get the helmet off.
I couldn't talk in there. I couldn't breathe.
Just keep your distance.
Oh, man. And I think it's pronounced Hua, not Whore.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, right. That is true.
I was holding into that one until I got this helmet off. No, yeah, but I totally agree. That was, I wasn't really knowing what to expect out of this episode going in, especially from the little bit of a departure from the game. But yeah, it turned into like this short film. That was just beautiful and sad to watch. I mean, getting into more of their relationship and how it all started, especially in this type of world. Like, obviously they're in the game, get enough of Joel and Ellie's relationship, but and you do get some other relationships and kind of ideas of what happened, but not quite that insight into other people's times during the infancy of this pandemic up until now. And yeah, it was, especially that last scene, man, that last moment they share together, it was just heartbreaking. And to be able to build that sincere connection in maybe 45 minutes between, like, once they start that until it ends, like, that was just incredible writing.
Yeah, it really was. And like I mentioned with the setup, I found it to be so funny when he's just scavenging the town, gathering up all his supplies.
It's exactly what Ron would do once this happens. It was so funny to watch.
And at first it is funny, even when Fedra agents enter his house and he's below the basement.
Not today, you New World Order jackboot fucks.
So that's what really starts it all. And it's like this man's fantasy came to life. He's probably been preparing for this his entire life, all the New World Order conspiracies, and then it finally happens and he gets to go to work. But I think they highlighted in this episode that even though he is a survivalist, as he calls himself, there's a big difference between surviving and living, and that's where Frank shows up. And it gives him a purpose to endure, to remain vigilant. It gives him a reason to go on, rather than just, I'm really good at surviving because I've been preparing for this my whole life. And it's the first time he even mentions that he had only been with one woman many years ago. It's the first time he's felt this true, genuine companionship post or pre-apocalypse.
Yeah, and I don't really I'm sure there's some people who complain about it being insignificant to the main story, but when you really think about it and what the story is trying to convey and some of the themes and what you're trying to look at during this post-apocalyptic world and holding on to the little things and trying to build whatever life you can, it does resonate throughout. And it is risky. I mean, the third episode in, usually you have to earn this type of episode, and sometimes they don't always work when you look at bottle episodes, but to do this, your third episode in, completely stray away from your two main characters for a huge chunk of time and focus on this story that at the end of the episode doesn't prove insignificant, but they're gone.
Right.
It's a risky move, but when you view it as just an episode of television, it really is up there as I don't know. It's hard to think of something that affected me and gripped me in a way like this, especially when you think of it as a season 1, episode 3, with 2 characters we just met and 2 characters we no longer are going to see anymore.
Right, yeah, it's such a lasting impact. And I think they accomplished the same thing with Tess, where her death is so monumental, but it's going to be very important for Joel and Ellie moving forward. And it's the same thing with Bill and Frank. It's that emotional development you get with Joel's character when he's reading the letter, and that last message from Bill talking about a similar message that Tess left him with, save who you can save. That's what our responsibility is. And I think with Joel, putting that distance between him and Ellie, reading that letter, he's reminded of his failure, of failing to protect someone he cared about. So if he grows closer to Ellie and then he fails her too, how's he going to live with that? So yeah, even though it's not moving the narrative forward, I think it's definitely important for our characters. And even before the Bill and Frank stuff, like when Ellie has that moment with the zombie, I thought that was a clever subversion. Right, she's going down to this basement. She obviously shouldn't be exploring this by herself, and she sets up the can so she can easily escape. You're thinking there's going to be a clicker that runs out, and she's going to be a desperation to get out of there. But no, the clicker is stuck under all that rubble, and she's got that really almost unsettling moment where she's contemplating the zombies' humanity, like they spoke about in episode 2. Do you think about they used to be humans before you kill them? And it looks like she is thinking about it, but then you see that anger and that rage once again swell up in her face. And I thought that was an interesting moment of development, that may be something she struggles with moving forward, is containing that anger and that rage. In a situation like this, when you can't control your impulses, that could put you in some sticky spots. But I thought that was disgusting, the way she cut the forehead and the look on the zombie's face. Teddy mentioned this on the last reviews. They still give them those human features and characteristics. It's like you could see that last flicker of humanity in there. So that was an important moment, I thought, for the narrative. For the characters, really.
Yeah, definitely. And even before, while they're on their journey, them just discussing what happened. I didn't like Ellie saying that falling down the stairs is lame as a multiple stair faller survivor. It's not lame, it's brave, and I think
stairs are slippery.
Yeah, so put some respect. It's a dangerous thing. So just wanted to throw that out there.
I like how they do that in this world. It's not just the zombies, it's the government, the stairs, the elements.
And even blaming, she thought monkeys caused this, and, that's, come on.
Yeah, right. Shot at you and your family.
Yeah, so that's,
what did you do?
But it turns out it was in the sugar or processed foods that are shipped all around the world. I don't know if I love that explanation, because it seems I don't know, I can in my head just thinking about the logistics of all that, still the timing doesn't really work out, everybody ate, Joel had pancakes that morning.
No, he didn't. They didn't have pancake mix, remember?
Where's the pancake mix?
Oh, was that? Yeah, it was. Sorry.
Oh, wait, they had waffles?
Yeah, they had waffles. Remember, we had the big debate.
No, he he didn't like pancakes.
Right.
But she made pancakes.
No, they were out of pancake mix. That was the whole bit. She was like, we don't have any pancake mix. That's why he thinks on it a little bit.
Bread, cereal, pancake mix.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I guess the explanation is there was an outbreak.
Because the timing thing, and when you look at last episode, they already found the body infected before everything even happened. So I don't know. Maybe it won't make sense, but I think that was just an easy way to kind of explain it, and it's not something I really need to think about. It's it happened, and that's it. Like, I'm not going to, like, harken in on that. But it is interesting to think about, like, the fungus kind of just spreading that way. Because it is something where you are wondering when it all is happening, like, how is it all happening at the same time? Why are they in the air? Like, especially when you hear the newscast in the beginning of the first episode, it seems like something's already happening overseas, and then it takes a little bit longer to come here. So, but yeah, definitely getting more insight. And that's one thing I think the show has done, or made a point to do more than the game, is kind of really explain what happened here.
Right, yeah, and I think it's another disturbing backstory on the outbreak. For Ellie, it's like being born post-apocalypse. It's like you were born yesterday, because the mundane things that we took for granted, like cars or planes or all these technological advancements, those become like historical artifacts in this world. And I think that's what was most bone-chilling about that explanation, is logistically maybe it doesn't add up, but the idea of the outbreak happening on Friday, and by Monday, thousands of years of civilization lost, literally wiped off of the planet, where all you have are these broken remnants. So to me, that was another, like I mentioned, a disturbing explanation going along with the cold opening in episode 1 and then the scene with the doctor in episode 2. So yeah, they've done a great job of filling in the peripherals of the world here and giving us little bits.
Yeah.
You know, Joel says that it's a theory. So maybe that is something that they explore down the road, maybe in further seasons, because I think they're going to continue opening and widening this world with different conspiracies and different factions and beliefs. So all that stuff has been very interesting. Yeah. Just makes you think a little bit.
Well, even with the Fedra, like her seeing that graveyard basically of people who weren't infected and their reasoning behind it, you know, dead people can't get infected. The tyrannical presence of the government here. And that was a funny bit when when Frank is like, says something about Bill thinking the government's Nazis. And he's like, you thought that like in 2002.
The government are all Nazis! Well, yeah, now, but not then.
Yeah, and like just that like piece of faded clothing and then cutting to 20 years prior and seeing that clothing on a family while everything's going on, I think that just says everything you need to know about it. When I thought they were going back, I thought they were going to focus on that family, but then they cut to Bill.
Yeah, that was a great piece of editing there. You just really, the scene alone, just seeing the graveyard was disturbing enough, but then jumping back in time and seeing them all alive, seeing how colorful everything is, and they don't know where they're going. They think the military here are the good guys. They've really made a point to establish just how quickly Fedra took control. Even though civilization was lost in a weekend, they took power right away. They didn't hesitate. They set up all these QZ zones, and that's what Frank was escaping from the QZ in Baltimore, because there was nothing left. So Massachusetts, it looks like comparatively they're doing well, I guess, when Joel says we've got the medicines and some supplies that you can use. So not only are all his preparations, all the conspiracies, they're rewarded entirely with his whole setup. He's living in paradise. But then he gets this hunka-hunka in one of his traps. There's this beautiful man, right? What are the chances? He's literally living a fantasy.
Finally.
Yeah, he hates the world, and now 3 years later, everyone's gone. He's completely by himself, and oh, look, a hot guy.
I thought Frank was trying to, like, pull one over
Fuck him
at
over.
first. Yeah. He got in there way too clean, and he was like, I thought like he might have been like manipulating Bill, but I liked when they cut to, what was it, 10 years or 3 years later, and they're fighting about him wanting to paint. I'm like, okay, that's just like, it seems like just a regular type functioning.
Yeah, the way
like,
couples fight.
Yeah. And as it played out, you really saw that they really did care for each other. I mean, the scenes, like the simple joy of eating a strawberry together, like I thought that was very beautiful. And it wasn't something where, obviously, you couldn't spend too much time on it from the capacity of the episode, but they did I think they just did a great job of like hitting all the notes they did to really make that final those final moments with those two characters just devastating to watch.
Yeah, it was, because at first, Bill, I think he does consider loneliness an asset, especially when there's an outbreak like this. So to be alone is to be safe. It's to keep yourself away from the infected. And I got such a kick out of him watching the infected while he was eating dinner. He's like, yeah, step closer. It never gets old. But then at the end, when he decides to kill himself because of Frank's illness, he is, at that point, like he mentions, satisfied.
Yeah.
So he's lived this life, and he doesn't need anything more. He doesn't need to survive. He doesn't need to keep setting the traps or rebuilding the fence. He had something to live for, but it was this sort of sweet send-off where we mentioned the window there at the end. It almost symbolizes freedom, like the wind is carrying their spirits or whatever you believe out into the open, and it's this fairy tale, very tender fairy tale in the most unlikely of circumstances. So that to me was very, very bittersweet. Like I mentioned, it's this sort of sense of freedom that they're able to express there at the end. And even when Joel and Ellie come into the house, and I think Craig Mazin mentioned this, the gust of wind closes the door. It's like they're literally encountering the ghosts of Bill and Frank. They're no longer there, but all the supplies is there, and the note is there. So their presence is felt, and they're a great help on Joel and Ellie's journey. Unintentional rhyme there. And both actors just brought so much empathy, so much humanity to their performances. Murray Bartlett bringing so much tenderness, so much love to his performance as Frank, just being the perfect guy for Bill in these moments throughout these years. And Nick Offerman, the sort of scrunchy awkwardness he brought to Bill, like during their first encounter, you could just see the tension in his shoulders, and it's Frank who allows him to release some of that tension and to be more vulnerable, to be himself without building up any barriers or walls. So just two great performances by those guys. But it ended up just being such a very sweet and moving love story, like you mentioned, a mini movie. And that's something that I always talk about, why I prefer movies over TV, because you can just capture so much in an hour or 90-minute runtime, where it feels like you lived a lifetime with these two characters. And it is over the course of 17 years, so it is a long time, but it was just so well done. I was emotionally drained after this episode.
Yeah, especially like just the way it all went down. It's like you knew as that moment approached, and the way he brought the wine out and put the pills in, the way I almost got the sense that like he was doing it in front of him on purpose to try to maybe show him what he was doing, to maybe jar that thing out of his mind, but or the thought of committing suicide out of his mind. But yeah, when Bill basically says that his wine was poisoned too, it's just such a sweet moment. It's not like he even says, like, not like a romance novel. It's not Romeo and Juliet. They were just being idiots. Like, this is just a thought out effort to go out on your own terms with someone you love. And
right.
That's just, call me soft, but that's beautiful.
Yeah, especially there at the end. I think the director of the episode mentioned that they're sort of emotionless during that last day. They're treating it like any other day, basically trying to take the attention off of the fact that this is Frank's last day. So I think when Bill does decide there at the end, Frank says that he should be mad, but it is romantic as hell, and it is super powerful because, like I mentioned, Bill wasn't living with any other purpose but to survive. And then he finds Frank, and Frank inspires him to chill the fuck out a bit, and that's what a character like Bill needed. So it speaks to that, how powerful human companionship can be, even in a situation like this.
When you think about it, like, they probably lived one of the better lives you could possibly live.
Yeah, they were big chillin', man.
In this environment.
Hot water?
Yeah.
That motherfucker had all the preparations. I'm surprised he didn't have like a gaming room. It's like, we got live sports. What?
Yeah, Hulu.
What the hell?
Chiefs are playing.
That doesn't make sense.
Chiefs are playing the Bengals right now.
Bill can do anything.
But like, there really is nothing. Like, you get his perspective too. What, he's going to hang out with Joel? That's boring.
Right. That's what fans
like
were saying.
Yeah,
we would have liked to have seen the interactions between Bill and Joel and Bill and Ellie.
I mean, those moments from the game are pretty sweet, but
they are, and they're funny.
Yeah.
The back and forth. I think the chemistry between Bill and Ellie was a standout from the games. But it almost, looking back on the games, Bill is even more depressing of a character now. And at least at the very end here, he gets that bittersweet send-off. You get to die in the arms of the man you love. So
who like, no one gets to go out on their own terms, especially in this world. Like, for them, that's like...
You had to die of an illness.
Yeah. Grow old.
Yeah. Maester Aemon shit.
Yeah.
All right, guys, before we finish this episode, I want to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, Smile Brilliant. Hey, look, I'm a floating head. Give me a minute of your time and you'll learn all you need to know about teeth whitening gimmicks. Let's start with LED whitening lights, a novelty item that doesn't enhance your results, it merely makes peroxide work faster, but not better. Next is whitening strips, a popular choice, and while effective, they can lead to stains along gum lines, crevices, and do not reach the molars. After whitening, you'll find your remaining stains more visible. Not good. Charcoal sounds good on paper, but it's abrasive and wears down tooth enamel. And finally, whitening toothpaste, a product that works only on surface stains, and like charcoal, is abrasive. So you're probably asking yourself the question, what works? Well, I'll show you. Head on over to smilebrilliant.com and check out their custom-fitted teeth whitening trays. Simply order the kit, make your impressions, and ship it off to Smile Brilliant's lab. Their lab is digital, so your impressions are stored on file for easy reordering in case you lose your trays. Shipping is free, and results are backed by a money-back guarantee. Plus, their whitening products are far less expensive than alternatives found at the dentist, so you can brighten your smile without breaking the bank. Smile Brilliant also has you covered with teeth care products ranging from mouth guards, electric toothbrushes, whitening gel, water flosser, and more. In addition to that, you can receive 20% off your order when using promo code NERDSOUP at checkout, so don't wait. Head on over to their website, choose the products that are right for you, and take care of your teeth. I mean, a part of me wanted to see Nick Offerman out there slinging a shotgun, taking out zombies, taking out Raiders, and we got...
he had to take on the Raiders. I thought that was cool.
Because he's just so capable. He's such a man.
No, it's again, like, I would just be dead.
Well, just the joy on that man's face when he's chopping down the tree, when he's at Home Depot, he's like, oh, that quickly?
I would have overslept. Fedra would have wiped out the city. I wouldn't even know what had happened. I would have woke up. I'm like, well, I don't know what to do.
But as a man, you've probably researched how to build a bunker.
No.
Rations for a year. You've never done that just to fantasize.
You don't know how quickly I would accept death in these situations.
No, I totally get that too. But I think that's a common male fantasy of being prepared for the apocalypse. I've known people who have done those preparations. Got years' supplies of food and water and rations.
I'd either hope to run into someone who knows what they do and, like, thinks I'm cool and wants to hang around, or I would just die. It's such a funny thing, because, like, 2001, everyone walks by, is like, oh, that's Crazy Bill.
Yeah, whacking. Who's crazy now?
Yeah.
He's selling tumbleweeds.
And we saw, I mean, the flashback scene with Tess and Anator's back, so, I mean, maybe it's not. I hope it is the last we see of him, not because I don't want to see these characters, but that's just such a great send-off for these two and left such an impact. But there's potential for them to return, some flashbacks of Joel visiting them, getting some piece of information or whatnot that he remembers in the present day. But
that was so funny, Bill keeping the gun on Joel the entire dinner. It's like it was like a tick. He couldn't help himself. Tess and Frank, they go into the house. He wants to show her something, and Bill and Joel have their heart-to-heart. And I think Joel does impress Bill there. Joel tells him that fence has got a year tops. So in the end, he leaves everything to Joel and his will. So, but that scene was nice to see Anna Torv once again as Tess, and I was so impressed with her performance in episodes 1 and 2. This looks like it might be the final time that we do see her. We may get some flashbacks from Joel's perspective. But that was a funny scene. And it's always funny to see when they age down Pedro Pascal. He's got the perfect look for that, where he can look like a guy in his 30s or dude in his early 50s.
That's why I thought it was funny, because, like, Bill and Frank go from, like, middle age to, like, death's door. And Pedro Pascal is they just put some gray in his hair.
Yeah, they do that. And he looks fantastic.
No, he looks great.
Like the opening shot when he's got the gray. I'm like, man, that gray is really shining. That man wears it well.
I want to, like, when I go gray, like, I hope I can just be one of those guys. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, they call them salt and pepper daddies.
I want to be a salt and pepper daddy.
Is that Joel?
Oh, I mean,
is that his nickname now? Well, the internet, according to the internet, yeah, it is.
I call Pedro Pascal a DILF and think he's my cool, slutty father. Yep. I am your cool, slutty daddy.
Hell yeah. What do you grab? Like,
if you're at Bill's house?
If you have, like, a fully stocked
it's a kid in a candy shop. It's like, what? Yeah. It's overwhelming almost.
Well, I like grabbed a gun.
She did grab a gun, right? Behind Joel's back.
Joel's gotta get her up, man. Let her be strapped.
She's itching for a gun.
Yeah, that thing on you.
But I like the comment that Ellie makes about Bill being a genius. She's so impressed by his setup. So even though we didn't get any interactions between them, and they are funny from the game, especially that first interaction, because she just beats him with a bat.
I see so much as a threat. Ow! Stop! Son of a...
bitch!
But that line right there it's sort of the only interaction you need, because Ellie would be very impressed by this setup, because she's just itching to kill some zombies, or to at least be gadded up. So, and that's the king of being gadded up.
Yeah.
That's a gun wall for the ages, dude. But I'll probably take I don't know, I've never fired a gun. Naturally, I'm inclined to take the shotgun, but I wouldn't be able to handle it. Probably shoot myself in the jaw.
Yeah. No.
Do one of those old blowbacks. The Beau blowback.
Yeah. No, I'm grabbing, like, I'm at least going 2 pistols on each waist. Got one in the ankle. Machine
Shotgun,
gun.
sniper.
Yeah.
Okay, machine gun.
I'm like a fully stocked video game character.
I like the nod to the gamers who were complaining that Joel had the automatic rifle when he buries it. Yeah, it's useless. You know, there's no ammo lying around. So you gotta scavenge, man.
No, I appreciate that, because in the game there are times where you just have 2 bullets.
No, yeah,
and you're just like, I'm fucked.
It's part of the fun. You really have to conserve your weapons. You know, like if you keep dying on one point, it's like, okay, I'll use the Molotov, whatever. But I do hope they do that, where they get like a group of zombies together and he just rainbow flicks it. Kareem. And just circling back to the point I made about the mundane aspects of our society that we do take for granted. Like when Ellie's in the car and she mentions it's like a spaceship. Another little Easter egg from the games. And she's also wearing the shirt from the game. I like that because I know what it means. But, you know, her playing with and fiddling with all the objects in the car, and her not even knowing what a seatbelt is. So even though she is very intelligent and capable, like I mentioned, it's like being born yesterday. These are things that you've only heard from your school teacher at these shitty government-ran schools. But even when she sees the plane, right, she's not thinking about, oh, this plane crashed and all those people died. She's just thinking about it's like almost seeing a dead fucking dinosaur carcass.
Yeah.
Like, this used to exist?
Ellie, let me tell you about the goddamn TSA. And the people who get up in the aisle way too early.
You're going to want to sit down for this.
Yeah. Let's do a simulated flight. Let me just punch you in the fucking face repeatedly, and you just sit there and take it. These are all your clothes? I'm going to throw them in the dumpster.
Oh, yeah, you're speaking from recent experience.
Thank you for flying Delta.
Thank you for Damn, taking shots at Delta on the TLU review.
Nah, I flew United.
Boo, boo, boo.
They actually hooked it up after, so shout out United.
I think they've done a good job of that, where Ellie, when she's encountering these different, like when she sees the Mortal Kombat game and she's complaining about how awesome it was.
Yeah.
I thought her whiny voice there was perfect. And she's done a good job balancing that, like Ellie from the games, where she is mature for her age, but she can resort to being a kid at certain times when things excite her, like a video game or like a piece of technology that she's never seen before. So she continues to nail this performance. And I think with Joel as well, you could see him, you know, he's holding up that wall, but there are cracks starting to form. There are little smirks, little glances, remarks that he makes towards Ellie where you can see he's really starting to care for her.
Yeah, it's a fine line between, like, it's a tough way to navigate a character coming off as, like, annoying versus interested or just authentic, like a kid would be in this environment. And I think so far, and that's what the game did well, and I think so far the television show is doing it well, is also doing it well. So
yeah, that was a great moment they shared in the beginning of the episode when Joel thinks that she's going to say, I'm sorry for Tess, and she says, no, don't blame me for this shit. You made your own choices. You were smuggling way before we met, so you wanted your fucking battery to go find your uncle. So, and I think Joel was impressed by that. You know, she's got that maturity to her where she can see things for what they are. So he was definitely impressed by that. And he agrees to take her on his journey to try and find Tommy, and we get the information that Tommy was running with the Fireflies. I don't know if the show has mentioned that already. That's the first mention of it, right?
That Tommy has relationships with the Fireflies?
Yeah.
I believe so.
Okay, so he says that if they find Tommy, that maybe he'll know where the lab is. Maybe he'll know where the lab is being set up, so he agrees to take her on this journey, and they got the Chevy left by Bill. And I also laughed when Ellie's fiddling with the cassette tape, and Joel's like, don't play that, don't. Oh, wait, that's Linda Ronstadt. That's pretty good.
You know, bump that shit real fast. Yeah.
I'm just so happy they managed to get the Black Album from Jay-Z before everything broke out. That would have been funny if Dirt Off Your Shoulder started playing.
Hold on, Ellie, leave that on.
Yo, Ellie, bump that.
I don't know why he sounds like Elvis now. Hold on, Ellie, keep that Jay-Z on real fast. So, Boston to Wisconsin. Right? No, Wyoming they're going to.
Yeah, they're going to Wyoming.
Damn. It's a 1 day and 3 hour drive with modern roads.
Yeah, I imagine there'll be no traffic. Well,
That's
you may
true.
run into something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Waze map, it's like, there's a zombie outbreak
That's just a
2 miles ahead.
Still there? Question mark.
Yeah, still there. Yeah, we got bit.
Yeah. I wonder if the rest of the show is just them just driving. That would be an interesting.
Yeah, talk about a subversion.
Yeah, just them driving for
No,
a
it's
day and 3 hours.
clean road
Yeah.
ahead. They get to Wyoming, everything's peachy.
Staying at Airbnbs.
Yeah.
Should we stop in Chicago? Oh, I always wanted to see the Bean. Let's stop.
Go to Buc-ee's, get some cheese string and Slurpee.
The world's largest yarn ball on the way. Let's pull over.
Still fully intact for some reason.
Want a milkshake? No, they're gonna run into some trouble.
No, yeah, I imagine some troubles ahead. That preview for the next episode, it seems intense. That we're going to see why Joel has this reputation of being such a formidable survivalist, like Bill, and I guess like Frank as well. But just, to highlight once again the sweetness and the tenderness of that relationship, where it is the zombie apocalypse, but everything is bright and colorful within their little compound. And you mentioned it, the moment with the strawberry where the sun is beaming through, and it is just such a sweet and relaxing and comforting moment for the two of them, where you're there just enjoying something that you maybe thought you'd never have again. Mm-hmm. In regards to the strawberry and to the companionship. So I thought all throughout the episode, the way they played with the daylight, it literally shines a light on the love these two men had for each other. And even that, the first embrace that they share after Bill plays the piano, where Frank just can't resist him anymore. This man is so impressive. He cooked me this great dinner, and look at this house he built.
Never had rabbit.
Come here. No, me neither.
Made it again. That was sweet. The last meal and first
meal, right?
Yeah.
And he knew what wine to pair with it.
I gotta think. 20 years. You don't think you think you could take out a whole liquor store in 20 years? You and another guy, and maybe some friends. So like throwing Joel and Tess on weekends. Maybe.
Oh, you're questioning why he still has wine left over?
Yeah, I feel like that's like one of the only things you have you could do if you were stuck in a liquor store, or you just had access to a liquor store, and you had nothing else to do. How long would it take you to run through that?
I don't think you make it 17 years. I think you may be dead within the year.
No,
just from alcohol poisoning.
Oh, like even if I have the enclosure, like I'm set up, I'm good.
Yeah, no, I think that you maybe would go crazy. I think a lot of us would. Maybe Bill's more of an extreme moderate. He could probably limits drinking to the weekend. That's why he's still got so many good bottles.
That's true.
No, I think I'd be dead because I wouldn't be able to resist. The pandemic, when our pandemic broke out, I was like, man, I got to smoke every minute throughout this. I'm not going to make it.
Dude, I would get a 12-pack, order a pizza, and just play video games all day with no zombies.
No zombies, no.
Guess I can't order a pizza, but I'll just make a rabbit.
Me hunting would be great. I'd be like the kid who, like, oh, you got to shoot it right in the heart. I'd shoot it in the liver. It's like, it's suffering, put it out of its misery. Like, oh, no.
I can't do it.
No, I got to smash its head with a rock.
Jesus.
I'm just referencing Triangle of Sadness at this point. But yeah, this was just, I think a lot of people are considering this to be the best episode so far out of the first three. And it is very early, but it's very rare that you can take such a dramatic departure from the source material and have it be so positively received by fans who are new to this and also fans of the game. And I'm sure some people out there are going to be upset. That's with everything. You can never please anyone. But they kept the spirit and the essence of the character. So it is sort of like the butterfly effect, where even though things have gone a different way, it still originates from that same place. And even when you encounter Bill in the game and you see Frank, it is heartbreaking even in that moment. And they just expanded on that heartbreak here. So no complaints from me. I thought it was a very strong episode.
And I think you can keep in the back of your mind, like every time they enter a new area or a new abandoned town, like something happened there. There's a story there. There was people there. And I think that's just one of the many things this episode highlights. Although it may not seem, it has nothing to do with the narrative, I think it has very much to do with the narrative. And I think, like I said, to do that episode 3 is a bold move, but I think they really hit it out of the park here.
All right, guys, that does it for this review of episode 3. We will be back next week for our episode 4 review. and we'll see who gets to co-host that review with me. Aaron or Teddy, I don't know. You can Rochambeau for it, or fight to the death. I vote for option 2.
Wow, that was probably our best review yet. Hey guys, Aaron the Nerd Soup Monkey here with a brief shameless plug before we end the video. Do you ever feel like you don't have an adequate amount of nerd soup in your life? Like you're going to bed hungry and yearning for the nonsensical yet entertaining nutrients our podcasts provide? Well, we've come up with the perfect solution. The Nerd Soup Fan Question Podcasts, exclusively available to our Patreon supporters. You can sign up now by visiting patreon.com/nerdsoup, and for the price of only $1 per month, you'll receive exclusive access to our weekly podcast, where we answer your questions that don't make it to the main show. And while you're there, you can check out the other rewards we offer to our patrons, like stickers, mugs, t-shirts, behind-the-scenes footage, and appearing in the credits at the end of our videos. And that's exactly what we're going to do right now. Roll the names of the nerds who make Nerd Soup possible. A reason why the crypto crash didn't send our lives spiraling down a black hole of no return. Alright, I'll stop talking so you can listen to this jazzy-ass music while checking if Beau spelt your name wrong in the credits.
But daddy is a state of mind, you know what I'm saying? I'm your daddy.